Hello, everyone, Earpers, friends, family, to the Ghost River Triangle Con, the very first Ghost River Triangle convention. Um, I am so excited to be here. My name is Bernie. I will be your moderator through quite a few of the panels today. Um, and with me today, I have filmmaker, content creator, TikToker, Parker Please with me.
Hey guys,
Welcome. Um, how are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm good. So I watched the episode last night and I'm still processing.
Yeah, me, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. The just as a heads up in the beginning, there will be spoilers discussed during this panel. This is your one-time notice for massive spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, don't watch this panel. That's the only time I'll ever say don't watch this panel is if you haven't seen the episode yet.
Yes.
Um, but I think we should get right into it.
Yeah.
If I had to describe this episode in three words,
Hmm.
it would be chaotic, unpredictable greatness.
Yes, I would agree. I definitely chaotic and in the best possible way. It wasn't what I expected going into it. I don't really know exactly what I was expecting, but I'm kind of glad that we started on a lighter note. Just to get back into the swing of things and see all of our favorite characters again, just, up to shenanigans as usual.
Absolutely. I think that's a comment I made while watching it. I was like, this is such a beautiful contrast from the first half of season four,
Hmm.
where it's and I know a lot of the cast members have said this about the back half of season four, but it's kind of returned to form for Wynonna.
Yeah.
It felt like season one in the best way possible.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess because it was so much of that first half was taking place somewhere else anyway. It was in the garden, or there's just so many things going on. It was so dark, and it's nice to see everyone sort of back to normal for now until whatever is going to be happening next, which I'm kind of excited about.
I can't even. I'm so excited for this season, the rest of this season, what we've seen so far. Um, First off, I think there's something we need to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Calamity Jane. I was heartbroken when I heard that Calamity Jane was no longer with us.
I know.
Um,
Moment of silence.
Truly, it's I I have the receipts. I have the footage. My jaw dropped and I froze. Um, I know people were speculating like in the first half of season four. Um, Nedley mentioned that he like ate a few people's pets. So people were like, maybe that's where Calamity Jane is. And it was confirmed in this episode.
Hmm.
So for all of us Calamity Jane stands out there, we finally found out where she is.
She's
She
not
is
here.
no longer with us. Um,
Oh,
and I felt we just needed to pay our respects up front.
yes, for sure, for sure.
Um, yeah, this episode, I mean, I will say my favorite line from it was Bunny Loblaw when she pulled up to the homestead and she's like turning around about to leave and she's talking to Waverly and she goes, I have a DVD copy of Bend It Like Beckham. We can watch it together. And it's just the the quality lesbian jokes
References, yeah.
was so good.
I think that's what I appreciate the most about this show is not only the queer representation, of course, but also just the references. They're just so on point. They know their audience so well,
Yeah.
and it really just resonates every time we get one of those in there.
Yeah. Um, everyone falling in love with Waverly. Um,
I mean, who could like obviously, she had a glow up for sure
oh yeah.
in this part two, of season four. I think out of everybody, well, of course, like, everyone looks great as always, but the short hair, the fashion, I think it makes sense that everyone was in love with her. You don't even need the little dust.
That's true. Um, the short hair is a definite look.
Yeah.
Um, an amazing look.
Yes.
I think we should just go from beginning to end, go over our favorite
Yeah.
parts. Um, right from the get go, we get the way hot proposal from
Yep.
Nicole's end. On Nedley's couch, um, stunning,
Yes.
beautiful. I hope there's footage somewhere where we can hear what Nicole said to her.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like we were a little bit gypped on that. I mean, obviously they made it such a big deal of the other proposal, but it would have been nice to get more of a moment there.
yeah, I agree, but I think for what we got in the rest of the episode, I'm okay with that compromise.
Hmm.
Um, and Wynonna going in hard immediately with Peacemaker and a bottle of whiskey, um, right off the bat. I hope Wynonna is okay. That was kind of my first reaction to that.
Yeah. I am a little bit concerned for her. And I think what's interesting about the whole love potion thing is that it sort of manifests itself differently in each person. They're not all the same type of love crazy or whatever. So,
Yeah,
like, you can really get a sense of how they're actually doing. If you look at Nicole's love craziness versus Wynonna's or um, even Doc, he's just kind of like himself, but even more charming and sensual.
right.
Uh, I just thought it was really interesting how they were doing that. I don't know. There's just so much to go off of, and also what was like kind of worrying me in the beginning was the first conversation before the love dust between uh, Nicole and Waverly when they're talking about the wedding. Just some of those lines, if you actually really listen to it, there is some genuine concern because she's saying, oh, I want a small wedding. I like how we're just us. It's not about being in the public, which is always kind of a thing that comes up in queer relationships for one person or, in any of those relationships. It's just part of it. And I don't know if it really has to be doing with a queer person, but it's something that we can all relate to. And I think, you see this in many different TV shows or movies with a queer couple, like in The Fosters, where they wanted to have, I forget which character, wanted to have a bigger wedding and the other one didn't. It's just always kind of like something that comes up. And I hope they figure it out. I mean, I think by the end they came to a compromise on it. But yeah, I was a little worried there in the beginning.
Yeah, me too. Um, but also, I think the thing that worried me the most was that they were like, we want to get this done as soon as possible. And
Hmm.
that's the thing that concerned me, is that they feel like there's a ticking clock because of the unfinished business in Purgatory.
Of course.
Um, because I think they're aware as much as we're aware that we're not done with the garden. We're not done with Eve. We're not done with that storyline.
Yeah.
That's something that foreshadowing made me nervous.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, yeah, it's I hope we get a wedding.
We
I
have to. Come on.
exactly that's how
We
I feel.
need it. We need it. What else are they gonna do? Come on. It's definitely gotta be a part of it. It's just like what shit is gonna go down on this in this wedding.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. Um, that strip club. What a great scene.
Yeah.
What a
Great,
great
great choices
choice.
on Wynonna's part.
Yes. Um,
Excellent choices.
absolutely. I Nicole's reaction to being there is would also be my reaction 100%.
Yes.
Um, I'm just like, oh no, why would you do this to a lesbian like me? Um, and it was just, I think it really showed how much the relationship between Wynonna and Nicole has grown.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because I think 2 seasons ago, Nicole would have raged on Wynonna for doing something like that to her, but now she kind of lets it go.
I
Um,
think she expects it also. She's like, this is just what it
this is
is.
who she is. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, and something else that happens early in the episode is we really see where Doc and Wynonna are at
Mm.
um, in their relationship, and it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It
I want
is,
them to fix things. They're meant to be together. We deserve that, I think, also. For straight couples, like they're one of my favorite straight couples,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, it's but we know how both of them express their emotions,
Hmm.
and the way that is that they don't. So
Wait, yeah, I mean, exactly. But I think maybe it could work. I think they could figure it out. They just need to talk it out. Like someone needs to get in the middle of it and fix it.
yeah, um, and I think they will. I think eventually they will. I think for the sake of Alice Michelle, they will.
Hmm.
Um,
Which,
be-
like, I want to know what's happening with that. I feel like it was just kind of put away and no one has ever talked about it again.
right.
Are we gonna get some closure on that? I don't know.
I
Or
hope
like an update.
so. Um, I hope we get closure on it. I think it's what we deserve, you
Hmm.
know? But also it's what the character deserves.
Right.
Um, yeah. Um, and I'm hoping at the end of the episode that at the end of the season at least we get something where Wynona's going to find her. Um, just something like anything. Um,
Yeah.
because it was such like partially it was a forced storyline obviously
Hmm.
because of Mel's pregnancy, but it was
Yeah.
also such a smart choice to include it in the plot.
Yeah.
um, because I think what a lot of this show is about is legacy,
Hmm.
um, and what you leave behind.
Yeah.
And for Wynonna, I feel as if she was living as if she wasn't going to really leave much behind
Hmm.
until she had Alice Michelle.
Right.
Um, I think you really see a change of her taking on the role as the heir from the beginning of season 1 to the end of season 2.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm just taking a look at the chat right now.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. That's a great question. Why wasn't Jeremy there?
He was in all the promo footage. What
I
happened?
I miss Jeremy so
Oh,
much.
something was definitely missing. I was like, I didn't realize it until now because I was seeing his face in between, on the commercial breaks. And yeah, what the heck? What happened there? What was he?
I I think
He could have fallen in love with somebody. Why not?
well, speaking of falling in love with somebody, I
Yeah,
want to
where?
see where's Robin.
Yeah, what happened with that? There's just so many things that were left unanswered, which I guess they're going to come back to. But yeah, there's so many things that I just feel like we're just,
Yeah, I
glazed
mean,
over.
the way Emily Andress is, I know that she's gonna follow it up.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
she doesn't leave any stone unturned. We still
Hmm.
need to figure out what the hell those books were.
Yeah.
Um, that whatever Waverly chose. That's the one thing that keeps me up at night. Is like, what book did Waverly choose?
I,
Um,
when are we gonna find out?
I don't know,
There's
and like,
not that many episodes left, right? So how many are there until the end?
I think there's someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it ends at episode 12 is the last episode.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it's not that many episodes to get to tie up all these loose ends here.
But if anyone can do it, Wynonna Earp can do it.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. The writing on this show is just great, and I know they're going to come through. But it's funny because I'm like, everyone's bringing up these things that I didn't even think about as I was watching. Jeremy, where is he? We got to find out. Robin, yeah.
Thank you for the confirmation, chat. Yes, 12 is the last episode. Um, yeah, let's keep going further into the episode. Oh, you
Hmm.
know who I want to talk about? Who I
Yeah,
thought was fantastic?
yeah.
Rachel Valdez.
Oh yeah, always.
She's
She
always
didn't have much of a part, like a big part in this. I feel like they could have given her a little bit more in this episode.
right, but even the part that she did have,
Hmm.
where she like the funny joke of her like wanting alcohol and never getting it because she's too young. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's really funny.
yeah,
Um, but also her discovering that Billy's in the basement
yeah.
of Shorty's and her letting him free.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be definitely playing into.
The consequences of that, I am waiting to see. Um,
I know, but it's like I feel for her. I understand her choice, but
Absolutely.
we're gonna have to see what happens now from that.
Yeah, I totally understand her choice. I'd do the same thing. I would absolutely do the same thing. Um, and what was interesting is that Billy is the Reaper, but he still recognized her,
Yeah.
and he felt human. Like, he
Hmm.
felt as if he wasn't the Reaper in that moment, that he, like, was able to separate himself from that, and I thought that was
Yeah.
super interesting as well.
Hmm.
And I think reinforces the whole episode's idea of what love is. Um,
Yeah. I think another interesting thing that this show does is with monsters and demons and creatures, they're always giving them just a lot more than you would see in another show. It's just like have backstory, you have all the emotions. There's just so much going on. It's showing them as real living creatures with feelings, and I think it's beautiful how they actually do that because there aren't that many shows that will take it to that level.
yeah, and it's so nice to see a sci-fi show in particular do
Mhm.
that. Because there's so many things you can do with a genre show, um, where you can literally do anything because it's your own world. You make up the rules, you make up the creatures, and everything like that. And you can just stick to that. You can just stick to it being a monster show. But what
Mhm.
Wynonna Earp does, like you said, is it subverts that. It is a monster show, but it's also a show about loss, and it's also a show about responsibility and
Mhm.
love and identity and basically anything under the moon that any other drama um, would see, you know?
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's sort of a family, this group of people. I feel like in a way they're a family beyond just Wynonna and Waverly. In so many ways, they have been through so much together, and it's interesting to see how that will kind of play out in the last few episodes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the biggest thing, like you said, like found family,
Hmm.
um, which I
And
think
chosen family too.
found and
Yeah.
chosen family. Um, and I know that's a big thing for a lot of Erbers in the community, that they've found their chosen family through this show.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful to see that the writers understand that, um,
Hmm.
and that they implement that because they know that's what resonates so much with their audience.
Yeah.
Um, I love how the writers take responsibility for the fans and
Yeah.
really cater to that. I think it's something so special that very few shows do.
Yeah. And even something like Supergirl, where obviously there are queer relationships on that show, the queer baiting that happens between Supergirl and Lena is like so frustrating. They never give us what we want. And, it's nice to have creators and writers who actually listen to us and all this up. It's just disappointing if it doesn't actually come to fruition. And it's like, we deserve to at least just have these relationships that we can look at, especially young queer people who don't know they don't know anything. Like I don't know, I figured out that I was gay a lot later in college. But if I had these shows to watch growing up, I think it would have been a lot easier to see that, I think like what it does is it normalizes queer relationships, especially with Waverly and Nicole. I just felt like that it's just the most honest uh, queer relationship I've seen on TV in a long time. So I think that there is kind of a duty when you actually create these queer characters. You have to kind of deliver and give us something that's authentic and real and not forced or not made just for the views or for controversy. I think they owe it to us, and these creators have done such a great job.
Yeah, I literally could not have said that better myself. Um, exactly that. Um, I just want to talk real quick about Jan Arden, who plays Bunny Loblaw.
Yeah.
How brilliant! How brilliant is she? Um, sorry, I completely like switched up the
Yeah,
conversation,
go for it. Go
but
for it.
I really I would be remiss if I did not talk about how fantastic she is in the episode.
Yeah.
Um, and how she just goes, for lack of a better term, like she just goes all in, you know?
Yeah.
She
Yeah, you can see that.
she goes all in. She was like, "Okay, you want me to be in love with Waverly Earp? I'll do it." And then she did it.
Yeah.
Um and it was so nice to see her be a little less homophobic by the end of the episode.
Yeah, no, it's progress. It's
Yeah.
like, when you have those obscure relatives who are, conservative and trying to understand you. Like, I feel like that also hits on a different level. And it was just, I think there's more to it, and we'll see. Hopefully she'll be a large part of the next few episodes, but I think we'll see that develop.
Yeah. Um, and I would love that, and I love that we see that kind of character growth. Um,
Hmm.
it's important to see. It's important to see change and understanding. And
Yeah, of
by no surprise, of course, Wynonna Earp nails it. You know.
course.
Um, so the end of the episode, the very
Mhm.
end of the episode,
Yeah.
Wynonna goes to Eamon, and it looks like that they're gonna have a little fun together. Um, to keep it as PG as we can. Um, but she also puts Peacemaker down.
I was like screaming at the TV. That
I'm
was my initial reaction.
Me too, and I watched the episode with my mom, and my mom was just like, "You just got it back. You just got it back." And I was like, yes, exactly. She like just got it back."
I was so concerned.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I don't
No, because we see the shot of her putting it down. Like, obviously, it's gonna come back. We just don't know who's
how
gonna grab it and what mischief is going to happen here.
exactly. Um Man, this episode I think also just does a great job of setting up what the rest of the season is going to hold. Um,
Yeah,
I think it refocuses just what the plot is going to be for the rest of the season.
yeah,
Um, like Cleo now being the Clanton heir.
yeah.
Can we talk about how fantastic she was in this episode?
She was great.
She was um, brilliant. She was. I think Melanie is the one who tweeted it out. Um, she was raw and vulnerable and real, and that
Yeah,
was like I will say that was the best performance in the episode, hands down.
yeah,
Um, And it's the fact that she was like very clearly manipulating Doc
Yeah.
that we
And
see
it
at the
worked.
end
Yeah.
where she like takes the flower and she loves it and then she just throws it.
Yeah, that was great.
Brilliant. I'm so excited to see that storyline. I think she is a great character. Um, I'm so excited to see what they do.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's nice that she got a little more screen time because I feel like we haven't had that much with her. So I'm excited to see her kind of take a bigger role in the show.
yeah. I'm just gonna look through the chat since we have only a couple minutes left. Let's see. Do do do. Okay, y'all let me know if the audio is gets a little better. Eamon and Wynonna boinked. Yep. Um and I think
But what do we think about that? Do you think it was just a one night stand or it's
oh
gonna
yeah.
be an ongoing thing? We don't know.
I don't think it's going to be an ongoing thing. Wynonna and Doc are meant to be.
I know, but I
And
think she can use him in different ways. I mean, I we'll see. Obviously, she's getting some of her emotions out with this.
yeah.
So I don't know. They do have some sort of chemistry. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily I'm obviously rooting for Wynonna and Doc, but I think they have an interesting relationship
Yep.
and dynamic between the two of them. So I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Someone tell me why. Tell me why within the last 2 minutes that we have of this panel. Tell me why no one told Doc what Nicole did until this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. Why did I
I
just maybe no one wanted to be the person to say it.
like literally like tell me why. I was grabbing onto my chair and I said,
I know.
why did no one tell this man?
Well, how is that going
Sorry
to
to
go
this
now?
man. And that's gonna change everything. That's gonna
Yeah.
change everything. Um, within the last minute here, thank you so much for joining me. I've had so much fun talking about this episode. Thank you to everyone who's watching right now. This is wild. Do you have any final thoughts about episode 407 and what 408 might bring?
I'm looking forward to the next one just from the fun preview we saw of the Halloween stuff going on. But yeah, it's just good to be back with these characters. It feels like seeing old friends, and I just can't wait to see what they get into next. And just going along for the ride. It's an emotional, bittersweet time. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm just glad that we get to witness it and be a part of it.
absolutely. Um, could not said it. I've said it better myself. Um, so that's all the time we have for this panel. Stick around. The podcast panel is coming up soon. Uh, once again, thank you so much for joining us. I've had a blast, and everyone enjoy your con weekend. We'll be back soon.
Enjoy, guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.